let's focus on brand Modi first, Harish. Well, it was clear it was a tidal wave in favor of Nitish Kumar-led Grand Alliance. Has it impacted brand Modi? Harish, what do you think?
Well, it sure has been a tidal wave. It's been a tsunami. It's been a Nitish Kumar, Lalu Prasad Yadav tsunami by and large. So if you really ask me, I think, the surprise verdict to the rest of the world, but possibly not to Bihar, was a big one. Now, what does it do to brand Modi? Personally speaking, I mean, if you keep politics apart, and if you keep the number of politicians buying for actually Modi's blood or for Amit Shah's blood, if you keep that aside, I believe brand Modi has not been hit at all. I think brand Modi is much beyond this, and I think Narendra Modi, in everything that he has achieved over the last year plus in terms of going out of the country, creating a big extrinsic image for brand India, I think that rests with him. So brand Modi, to me, is totally undiluted despite this big election result.
Right, Harish. In fact, it's interesting you say that because, I mean, newspapers, the overwhelming commentary on TV has been that the defeat is Modi's as much as it is for BJP.
Okay, first of all, we need to start with the fact, the given fact that Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister of this country. Being the Prime Minister of the country, he oversees the entire national agenda. And to that extent, the national agenda is a different one and the state agenda is a different one. It's a different matter that he has gotten into the state, done 30+ rallies, worn his entire heart on his sleeve on these rallies. But please let's understand that what happens in Bihar stays in Bihar. It would be wrong for us to really say that, hey, listen, Bihar movement is a pan-India movement commenting on the national policies of Narendra Modi. I don't believe that's so. Bihar electorate was presented the face of Narendra Modi, the BJP, Amit Shah and co. But that was a local agenda would do for Bihar. But the point is, it was not about what this team was doing for India. So it's wrong to look at it as a referendum on the national basis. I'm a big admirer of Nitish Kumar. I'm a big admirer of Lalu Prasad Yadav. But being all that, I would still say this is not a referendum on Modi. It is certainly not any comment on the national agenda of Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of this country.
Harish, fine, point taken, Harish, but you say what happens in Bihar stays in Bihar. But clearly the strategy was to use the brand of Narendra Modi for the Bihar election. So you're saying that it may not have worked then?
Absolutely. If you look at the ground level, Modi and Amit Shah were projected to be the two big patrons of this election as far as Bihar was concerned. There was no local entity who was supposed to be the chief minister of Bihar. So I think that is the BJP mistake. They put everything behind the faces of these two national leaders, not at least let me call Narendra Modi the national leader and Amit Shah the president of the BJP. But if you really look at it, that was a mistake. I think if there's any criticism that's occurring against you at this point of time, I think your strategy team is to blame for it, because very simply you put out Narendra Modi out there as the front face. Now you have to face the flag.
Then tell us, Harish, what does brand Modi stand for? What would you say are its key attributes?
Brand Modi stands for this macho Prime Minister of India. It really stands for this macho Prime Minister who's now a very talkative Prime Minister. And this talkativeness is seen to be a reasonably big positive extrinsically and seen to be a negative intrinsically. In the sense, there are two images of India. One is what India presents to the outside. There, Modi and his talkativeness is a great big factor. But the second factor is how Modi talks into the country. And that's seen to be a negative, because a lot of people maybe are asking questions and are saying, Mr. Modi talks more than acts as far as India is concerned. And I think that's the feature which our Prime Minister needs to correct.
Then Harish, for a moment, then let us try and assess brand Modi in the context that you laid on, in the national context. It's been about 18 months. I mean, how do you assess him so far?
You know, if I look at a prime minister as a brand, and if I look at Narendra Modi together being that, I would give Narendra Modi 10 on 10 because he is India's super salesman. He has taken India out into the world and he's upped the quotient on India appreciativeness across the world. Yes, it hasn't resulted in the hard numbers. Yes, Modi's is still saying what Modi's is saying, but overall, I think the picture of India is bright and it's burnishing bright, fundamentally because of this super salesman of India, which is Narendra Modi.
Then Harish, let's put you in the hot seat. What if you were Narendra Modi's brand advisor? What would be your advice? What were the areas of weakness that you would ask the Prime Minister to watch out for?
First is, actually just don't talk the talk, but walk the talk as far as India is concerned. And that's very important. The second is, stay in India a lot more than you have done in the first year plus. Because, your presence in India is going to give people a comfort level to say that you're very keen and interested in hands-on solving the problems of India. So if you really look at it, these two would be the top points.
That's right, Harish. In fact, now let's focus on the other big branding story, or I should say rebranding story, and that of the BCCI. This is perhaps the first real serious attempt to clean up the cricketing body, but of course we need to keep in mind that it's come in light of course, the Lodha panel recommendations. But be that as it may, do you see these efforts helping BCCI regain its battered brand image?
I think BCCI needed to have done this long ago. But at last, they've done this. They're cleaning up the stables. The stables are still dirty. There's still some more dirt around to be cleaned up, but at least you've started. And that's very good for BCCI, because please understand, cricket is this nation's sport, and the nation is very keen to understand whether the cleaning up is proper or not. You cannot have people with dual interests sitting on Team India and on IPL India. So I think, and on corporate India. So if you really look at it, that's been cleaned up, and that's a good thing, and I think it's going to give BCCI a positive image, not for any action which it has taken on its own, but I think it's been pressured to take these pieces of action. Whatever it is, it's good for BCCI.
Apart from the fact that Ravi Shastri and Roger Binney have been axed, the other big development in terms of appointment, apart from AP Shah, is Sourav Ganguly, one of India's finest captains and a very credible face who in fact led India after the match-fixing scandal in 2000. I mean, is that enough now to sort of restore the confidence, the fans' confidence in BCCI?
Yes, I think the trust will be restored, but this is going to be slow because fans are going to watch the next few pieces of action of BCCI. BCCI must not take 3 steps forward with such positive action and then take 2 steps backwards with some pieces of negative action, which I'm going to say going to possibly come sooner than later.
Thanks so very much, Harish. Let's leave it at that. Thanks so very much for watching us on The Big Picture.